On my mark.
5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2, 1. Mark.
Welcome back to the Resupply with me, guy next door.
And me, DK, putting the fire back in Fireball DK.
Bringing you your semi-regular double tap of all things Space Marines and Laser Force. For a minute there, I forgot what the intro was. That's embarrassing because it's only like, we've done it 70 odd times now. And, I still fuck it up. The amount of times that I fucked it up, like when we were just doing it as a podcast, was more,
kind of hilarious.
Yeah, it was more than I care to.
I think we averaged about 1.8 intros per show.
For sure.
It wasn't every single show that we fucked it up, but enough that the average is over 1.5.
Yeah, for something that you do on a reasonably regular basis, like you would have thought I'd be good at it. But
welcome back to the fuck.
yeah, usually welcome back to the shit. But yeah,
so as you can tell, last week I did weeks and weeks of show prep for our great episode on aliens. This week I've done approximately 39 seconds of prep for our show, so we're in for a doozy tonight, folks.
We got a message just before we went live about half an hour. Thanks, Greg. Which is kind of throwing a bit of a spanner in the works, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Prep? I don't think so. DK, we were talking about it beforehand, but I felt last week's show was really awesome.
It was awesome. Made me feel like we were real broadcasters.
Now, granted, it was somebody else's, format, but that wouldn't worry. Yeah, don't worry about that too much. What's people saying in chat? Chat's gone nuts. Than, what are you rebel rousing in chat for? Your wife doesn't ask for much, but she asked for family D&D. Ah, yes, of course. Okay, so as you can tell, Than's in chat, and he's not on camera. He won't be joining us this week because he's got family obligations. Selfish. Some people are selfish, DK. Why do we put up with it?
True story.
Wife greater than Resupply. I mean, fair, I guess. I would have put equal to, but whatever.
I definitely feel offended now.
Yeah, that's it for this week. We're out of here.
Have to go have a cry now.
In case you missed it on Thursday, I've reset up my setup, and this camera sucks. Mostly because I spent like $30 on it. So if I'm partially translucent, and that's the reason why.
What was that, Ghost Next Door?
My uncle used to call me Casper as a child, and today seems to be more relevant than ever. Right, so I was pretty happy with how last week went. We talked about doing another one soon. I'd be keen to watch another movie as a group soon anyway, because that was really fun. But perhaps we need to do it on like a Sunday morning / Saturday evening so that we can, get you guys in the mix.
Maybe so.
Yeah. Isn't it just...
Well, how many American viewers do we actually have anyway?
That come on the regular? Stu.
Yeah.
Stu, and like sometimes Goldfish. Because Than doesn't count.
Stalwarts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stalwarts. Stu and Goldfish, you're holding it down. Thanks.
Al
Glad
said,
somebody loves me.
Al said, isn't that just the lack of sunshine from being back in lockdown? I'm not sick, I promise.
Yeah. Oh boy, both of our worlds have gotten a little bit smaller since the last time we did this, I guess.
Yeah, it really has. And Russell, who...
That's true.
Sometimes drops in, sometimes. Today.
Sometimes.
Yeah. In case anyone missed it, he put a photo of himself up in the Discord, and he has some luscious lockdown locks going on. Almost made me jealous, but not really, because
What do you have to be jealous about, buddy?
That's right. That's the only part of me that's that's blessed. Anyway, so we have some big news, I want to say. I mean, I had to
medium-sized
got
news.
medium-sized, some average-sized news is what they used to call me in high school. So we've been busy behind the scenes in Auckland. We do appreciate the British girl who takes naps so that she could be here. We absolutely appreciate. We appreciate all of you guys for coming to hang out with us. Or if
more
you're
loyal than most of these people in the States.
Lazy fuckers. It's not like you have anything to do on a Friday night.
Yeah, come on. We know you guys have no life. Get it together.
Neckbeard does not equal luscious locks.
Luscious pubes, maybe.
What a way to swing in and just, drive by. Don't be jealous. Look how amazing these locks are.
You need to turn the contrast down on that cheap camera, buddy.
Yeah, I need to just cut it here or something. Here's the moneymaker. Again, in case I didn't explain earlier, the reason I grow this terrible shit out is because it semi-hides my double chin, which is far worse to look at than my pubes. So, anyway, fuck all that noise. We got news. We got average size news. In case you didn't hear.
Breaking news.
So we've been behind the scenes, lamenting the fact that we didn't get to host this year, and hopeful that we get to host next year. We've been busy at work, and by we I mean myself and Greg, to organize a little something for the Auckland player base. I know that's not great news for anyone that doesn't live in Althea City.
So after the shitty week I had, you're just gonna rub it in more by talking about, oh hey, guess what, we're gonna play.
Oh, actually, yeah, are you guys all right over there? Like, with your fire tornadoes? Jesus.
I mean, you know what? We're just waiting for the next sign of the apocalypse at this point. The country is literally on fire. Our state is literally on fire. I'm certainly fine where I am, but it is smoky as shit outside. Like I haven't been able to do my daily run or walk or anything like that for the last couple of days because it's too ashy outside.
That's brutal, man.
Yeah. That capped off a week on Tuesday where I got to spend $1,000 on dentistry, and my face was so numb that I had to cancel D&D for that night. So it's been quite the week.
I wish we had done a podcast that day.
Welcome back to the Resupply with me, UK.
Another thing. Right, so yeah, our collective hearts go out to everyone who's currently being affected by fire tornadoes. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Also, the tornadoes shoot COVID out of them, so it's just a whole trifecta at this point.
COVID sharks. COVID Sharknado.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, that's so heavy. Well, this'll hopefully get I don't know. It does feel a little braggy now that I'm about to talk about it, but it's interesting, and hopefully it'll make for some decent spectator viewing for when it happens. But we are looking to host a Auckland-based tri-center mini tournament. Ooh,
exciting.
Yeah. I could just hear the collective ooh coming from the chat.
I actually am really excited for you guys. I think it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, well, we've sort of been trying to figure out the best way to run it. Good Lord, my face is so white. Now, just calm down, would you?
It feels like a real privilege to only be the second whitest person on a podcast. That's a rare achievement for me.
Every time I open, so I got dual screens up, and like this. Oh, hang on. If I put a wall up, does that help? How about this? We put this here.
Hashtag build the wall.
None of that's helping at all. What about this? Oh, that's kind of an improvement. Yeah. Okay. I'm on point today. I'm not being distracted at all. So, I sent you guys the document that Greg put together, explaining how how the format is going to work, and I think it is something I don't think's been attempted so far, at least not in our community.
There's been pieces of this put together, but nothing quite like this. It's certainly, at the very least, recombining elements of other tournaments in a new and different way. So I think it's exciting.
So I'll run through the document that Greg wrote for us, and if you've got any questions, chuck them in chat, because Greg's actually hanging around somewhere, I think. I tried to get him about 20 minutes ago to join us on the pod.
That's how much notice we like to give our guests here on the Resupply.
Well,
hey,
so-
you want to be on a podcast in 10 minutes?
He sent a message through to our Auckland chat group and was just like, all right, I'm sick of you guys complaining. Here's how the tournament's going to work. And it just completely changed how everything was from this document. So we'll go through the document first, because that's what we semi-prepared for. And then we'll talk about his proposed changes. And I can tell you live right now, Greg, what I feel about it. And yeah, we'll approach it from there. So the tournament will be run across 3 different sites, because we have 3 sites that have confirmed that we are able to come in for a day and play basically for 5 hours. We got 5 hours to do whatever we wanted, so that's kind of nice. So we have a player base, a total possible player pool. I think I counted about 25 people. Now that isn't to say that many people are going to play. It was just like a best case scenario. If all the people who could play would play, who would it be? And so yeah, they counted about 25.
And are those all primarily, well, I guess they're all Auckland players, but I mean,
Not all of
Wairu
them.
is your guys' site, right?
Not all of them, actually. We got a couple of. We got Stallion from Wellington has expressed interest in coming up from Wellington.
Sure.
We have
Lost from the past there.
yeah, he hasn't played. He's got some games from, when was it from? Like earlier this year in Napier, just playing some some standards before they closed. But yeah, he hasn't played any competitive laser tag since 2003. So we'll see how he goes.
Or he came to the States.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay, so fact checks.
Hey, I'm going to include that term because I actually won it, so I need to make it as legitimate as possible.
Fair enough too. No asterisks here.
Asterisk.
So he's expressed interest in coming up. We also heard from one of our other Auckland-based players, Andrew Chen. He's looking to maybe come up and make an appearance. We'll see how he goes. He said he might not be available for all 3 days, and if that might cause a problem. So it'd be a can you commit to all 3? If not, then you probably can't play. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how we go.
Well, if you guys could get like exactly 24, that would be about perfect for the structure that you're looking at.
Yeah, well, we've already had one of our guys, Mr. Doom, say that he's not playing, which is a shame, because he's one of our guys who really plays on the regular, and is starting to get some really decent Space Marines chops under his belt. He's played 2 Nats now, and showing real improvement. So it's a shame that he won't be playing. But I think at last count it was about 18 of those 25 I think were likely to play. So at least it's a number we can work with.
Yeah, anything that's a multiple of 3 would be preferable.
Yeah. So the reason why 3 is because each team will be made up of a team of 3 players. Al, are you struggling with buffering? Is anyone else struggling with buffering, or is it just the NBN? No, yeah, okay. I'm not showing any issues in my little screen, so whenever
It
somebody...
might just be because your camera gets bumped on occasion, so it looks a little bit weird. I don't know.
Yeah, if you're looking at my camera and it does a weird glitchy thing, that's my camera. It's because my camera sucks. Apologies for that. Oh, hey, Glenn, what's up? All right, so it'll be teams of 3, and it'll be a salary tournament. So we're gonna work out a particular salary cap. At the moment, we've got a value of 2.2 million per team of 3.
Approximately $70 US.
Yeah, approximately. Enough for several bagels. So we've gone through, we ranked all the players that we feel are going to be attending based on their MVP ratings in Auckland.
Okay, that was going to be my first question.
Yeah.
It was, what are you basing the salaries on?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Greg's gone through and done that for everyone. With people who haven't played in a long time, or people who haven't played Auckland since stats have been done. We've had to take just a wild stab in the dark, but I think
those are the best kind.
Yeah, because you're either like way under or way over, and either way it makes for interesting results.
As we learned in our last D&D session.
It's unwatchable. That makes me really sad. I don't like it when you can't hang out, Al. It makes me sad. Ducky, MVP rubbish. That's we've been talking a long time about getting you on here and letting you have a rant about how you feel about MVP. But we'll save that for a different pod. All right. So you with me so far? 3 sites, teams of 3.
That's a lot of 3s.
That's a lot of 3s. So each game will consist of 4 teams. Yeah, I'm going to read this straight from the thing, so bear with me. Each team will consist of 4 teams participating in a game, with pairs of teams combining to create the 6 players required for SM5. Damn it! All good, Al. We'll catch you tomorrow. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. A team will be pre-assigned to either an offensive role, so commander and 2 scouts, or defensive role, heavy ammo medic. Right? Players in the same team are permitted to change positions within their team's roles between games, but not change positions to a defensive or offensive role. So basically, yeah, your team of 3 will either be playing offensive or defensively. Which I think is a really interesting way to do it. The other thing about that is that in this particular tournament, we are doing away with the traditional match, right? So you play a match as green and a match as red. But rather, you'll be a match as the offensive trio, a game as the offensive trio, and then a game as the defensive trio. So you could potentially play a game, and both of your games in a match as green team or as red team, rather than switching colors.
With the hope that by the end of the tournament, it all kind of comes out in the wash as teams move around.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to figure out. I'm sure Greg's got a solution for that. Hey, Greg.
Well, if he proposed it, he'd better.
Bye, my name
Don't
is
overpromise. This isn't Fire Festival.
Yeah. We make it seem real glorious, and you turn up and like everyone's like in a shack playing Space Marines. Right. So that's kind of how the match format will be made up of. Why doesn't it give me a... That's weird. I just noticed that there's no stream uptime. Strange.
Well, the stream is going. Because we know people are watching it.
Yeah, that's
We're not just howling into the void right now.
just all preamble.
That actually happened to me when I was recording earlier. I realized for the first 2 minutes my mic was not on. I said, shit.
Hate that. It's much like last week when we started and I nailed the intro, but my microphone wasn't on. Yeah. Don't do that. You'll confuse our viewers. They'll be like, why did DK's microphone turn off?
Nobody wants to hear that anyway.
Right. Will a 2-meter rule be enforced? I mean, it's 3 meters, but yes, it will. We'll be playing. Oh,
Or they mean people having to be 2 meters
2 meters
apart.
social distancing. It'll depend. Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Who asked that? Was that Smalley?
Heathen.
Oh, Heathen. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that what you guys have had in place since reopening?
I mean, it is what it is at the moment. Like as in level 3. Man, I wish my face would stop being. There we go.
Man, I wish my face would stop being. How many sentences have I started like that in my life?
Yes, it does depend on what level we're at. And same with with this, but we'll get to the possibility of COVID messing everything up. My goodness, it is really distracting. Apologies, because it's driving me nuts.
What do you have on your other monitor? Is it essential?
Yeah, it's all of what I'm reading currently on screen. Stuff that I kind of need. All right. So every the tournament fucking hell. The tournament is held over 3 days, and each day will be played at a different site. And we'll basically play for live streaming. You're not wrong. We'll play as many games as possible within the 5 hours that we have to play. To maintain balance and fairness, every reasonable effort will be made to ensure each team plays a minimum of 1 game per day on red offense, red defense, green offense, and green defense. So that's over the course of the day. So that's not necessarily over the course of a match. But yeah, ideally you'll end the tournament having played roughly 1/4 of the games in each of the 4 setups. It's probably not going to work out to be quite 1/4 of your games, but thereabouts.
I mean, if you guys have exactly 24 players, that's probably a little bit more doable. If you have 21 or 18, it'll get a little bit skewed just because your multiples will be thrown off a little bit.
That's right, yeah. Glader said, "Hornament, I'm down." That's every single international tournament I've ever been to.
My own tournament with blackjack and hookers.
Okay, so within a single day, each player in your team must have had at least 1 game in each of the 5 unique Space 5 roles. It's at your team's discretion as to how you achieve this, but there'll be points deductions if you don't have every player play at least every role each day.
Right. So even though you're rotating between, Commander Scout on the one hand and then Heavy Ammo Medic on the other, you still have to play each of those unique roles.
That's right.
At least
so
once.
You don't have, jerks like me bogarting the heavy role like anytime around defense or, commander or whatever. This primarily to prevent less experienced players from missing out on the opportunity to play commander and heavy. This is what the notes say here. It seems a solid bet. He then said Steve will end up in the hospital at some point during the tournament. I mean, if we're taking bets, you probably should take that action. Yeah, so there's no concept of matches in this format. You'll simply join with another team to form 6 players and then compete against another 6 players. Yeah, and there's no guarantee your following match will be with or against the same set of players,
right?
Which is an interesting way to do it. So you could play a match at odds, please. You'll have to talk to one of the boys from Syracuse who actually, do bookmaking or whatever it is they do. Whatever illegal forms of gambling they're into. So tournament scoring. Any questions about the format so far? Or any comments? Or should we just rip through this document and then we'll get to
I think we might as well keep going and then we can... Let's do the overview and then we can iron out the details once we finish that.
So the scoring, unlike a standard international SM5 tournament, there'll be no finals brackets or playoffs. So instead, teams will earn money across the games. Ooh. I think he's updated this.
It's money, right?
to the yeah, there's money. So you earn money across the day, and the winners will be determined by the final cash total once all games are being concluded. So basically, points, but money. Playing for Bitcoin, folks. In the unlikely event of a tie between two teams at the end of the third day, the winner will be determined by a countback system based on the number of elims for and against, and the number of medic hits for and against. Okay, cool. I don't think there'll be a tiebreaker, but if there is, that's helpful to know, I suppose.
Especially the way that you guys are construing it now. I think that's pretty unlikely because of how many different wrinkles are being added to this.
Yeah.
Always good to define that to say what the tiebreaker will be.
Just in case. Money will be awarded as following. Man, we should really call it something that's not money.
Licking your chops over here.
Yeah, smiley points or something. Not to be confused with smalley points. That's a different thing. So the objective is to win the game. The winner of the game is determined by using the International Racing 5 rules, where 10,000 points are added to a team who elims the opposing team, right? Eliminate all opposing players. Value is $2 million. Fuck yeah.
Okay, so here's where we're coming in. So the way that Greg has it worded right now, where you win the game, your win bonus is equal to the losing team's salary, in essence. So if your salary cap is, you said it's like just over 2 million, it's 2.2 million, right?
2.2, yeah.
Yeah, so let's assume for the time being, if all teams theoretically were exactly at the cap, a win would be worth 2.2 million.
Right.
Because that would be both the winning teams and the losing teams' salary.
Right.
At that point. So yeah, in that case, that's a little bit different. In the initial draft, I thought it was going to be the basically difference between winning and eliminating was like a 5-2 ratio. Now it's much closer to 1-1. It seems like, where you get 2 points for a win and then an additional 2 points or $2 million for eliminating.
Yeah, so 4.4 million is what Greg's put in the chat. So this is the information that we
if
got.
Only he were on the show to explain his reasoning.
So I didn't actually check this document before we went live to see if it had changed, and it is vastly different than what it was.
Okay, I have the current document.
You
open.
do? Do you want to read it? Oh, the current as in like what he's put in here that it's been changed to?
Well, when you told me it changed, I opened the link that you sent me,
yeah,
and it certainly is different and more in line with what you had sent at the time.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, what I see here is win the game. The winner is determined using International Space Marines 5 rules. 10,000 points rewarded to the team who eliminates the opposing team. And the value is a win bonus. The win bonus is the losing team's salary minus the difference in salaries times 10, but we'll get to what that means in a minute. Losing to I see what he's saying. Okay, so yeah, since the losing team actually consists of two different teams,
yeah,
that's why it's 4.4, not 2.2.
Right,
okay,
right.
I'm picking it up now.
Right. Okay.
So you just needed to run through it a little bit.
Yeah. So
this is great radio and television right now.
Yeah.
Two dudes just read off a screen while they're struggling with lighting.
You can see.
We're so proud of our super professional pod last week, and now we're onto this.
Well, so Ducky put in the chat, here comes DK's son issues.
Yep. And plus it's all miscolored too because of all of like the ash and stuff in the air. So it's like this bright red sun. So I'm like on fucking Krypton over here.
Yeah, that's what my problems is as well. Like, you know, all the ashiness is making my face turn white. Stupid ashiness.
Well, I mean, the sun's upside down in New Zealand, right? It's on the other side of the world.
That's right. Yeah. Stupid upside down sun. Let's come back to the way that's going to work, because I think that's the most complicated part of how this works. And I'm going to have a mild panic attack if I try and process this live to everyone that's watching. So
I think I mostly get it. It's just difficult to explain verbally.
Yeah.
Like if you actually see the breakdown in the math, it makes a lot more sense to me now.
I mean, I could put it on screen.
Oh, right. That is a capability that we have.
It is.
But I mean, if the Auckland players have it in front of them, maybe we'll just link in the description for the video. Can you throw the link up in chat right now if Greg hasn't already done that? So maybe people can just follow along.
Yeah, actually, let's have a look. Boom. There's the document. There are also some player salaries in there as well, linked to it. Don't pay too much attention to those because they may change. I don't know if they're going to change actually, but yeah. So you could see how this is all work. Let's come back to that though. Let's come back to the scoring, and then we'll discuss that in more length. Back to traditional resupply. I don't know what that means.
The traditional show, I guess.
Something's happening in chat. I don't
Stop
know
paying attention to chat. You're distracting us, chat. We're trying to run a show.
Yeah, damn it. We're professionals. Right. So an interesting.
You're acting like goddamn amateurs.
Again. So the site multiplier is an interesting feature. So. Before the first game of the tournament has begun, each team may nominate one of the 3 host sites, and that being Paradise Ice Skating Rink, Game Over, where our friend Reggie lives. Oh, drop the control. Why would you, DK, quickly drop the controls?
What?
Wasted. What a waste of special points. That's terrible. That's like dropping a nuke when the other team's nuke is about to detonate. What a waste. Ignore them, DK. Ignore them.
I am, because I'm not even looking at chat. So.
Right. So yeah, Game Over, where Reggie lives, and then Auckland, Laserforce Auckland and Wairau. So you can nominate one of those 3 sites as your bonus site. All games played by the team at that site will earn an extra 50% cash on top of what they would normally get. Cash. You need to change it, bro. Need to change it. What's the first?
You should call it like Zapcoin or something. You should make your own crypto for this.
We should. Oh, you're a genius.
I just gave Steve a crypto boner. I'm sorry, everybody.
Good thing I'm sitting down. So once the first game of the tournament started, teams may not change your nominated site. Okay, so in the interest of fairness, there'll be a cap on the number of games to which the multiplier can be applied, based on the fewest number of games played. This is to prevent any unfair advantage that could result from scheduling issues. For example, if teams only manage 10 games at each Laserforce Auckland and Paradise, but 12 at Game Over, then all teams who've selected Game Over as their bonus site will only receive the multiplier for the first 10 games they play, which is fair. Because I think the other 2 sites, Paradise especially, is tiny. Hodl stonks. Oh, Russ. Yeah, Laserforce.
You get 2 million stonks for this game.
So Paradise Arena is tiny, and so I would imagine that there's a fair amount of elims that are going to happen. Is Paradise smaller than Game Over? I believe it is. You have to ask Heathen, because he's played the most games probably at Paradise, because that's technically his home site. But yeah, the games are going to be quicker. There's people are not going to know what to do in terms of resupply points. So yeah, I think that there'll be a lot more games because they'll be shorter games, I think.
That's kind of an interesting wrinkle too, because you would think on the one hand, like, well, I'm most familiar, most players will be with the Wairau Arena. So I should make that the multiplier. It's like, but if other people take that, you might get a competitive advantage by taking one of the other ones. But then you have to figure, all right, well, I might be really bad at that site though. I have to hope that other people are also bad at that site. So I think it's an interesting thing. I kept going back and forth with reverse psychology in my head about what the best way to do that would be.
Well, so last time we played at Game Over, I felt this was a bad stream to come in late. Yeah, be here from the start. Jerk.
Yeah, why are you late?
Why are you late? Unacceptable. You see us after class, all right? Professor DK is going to have some words with you. Shit, Russ, damn it. What was I saying? Oh yeah, game over. Okay, so the last time we played a game over, I felt like I had a pretty bad evening there. Until I would come out and check my score and be like, oh, okay, like, or check the back of your gun because we can do that now. And to find that you racked up 9 or 10 grand, and felt like you didn't really earn it. So like, yeah, I can't tell if that's because I play better in that arena or if that's because everyone else plays worse. But either way, like it worked out to be a decent evening. So, yeah, we'll see. I haven't made up my mind as to which I would rather my team do.
It probably kind of depends on who your two teammates are too, as well, right?
That is true. That is true.
Because if you're really going to get in the weeds and start strategizing here, you just have to make sure that you really nail down with your team. All right, here's definitely how we play this one arena that people are less familiar with, so we can really maximize our advantage there.
Well, to go into, we'll get into it in a minute because I think it's still linked. Yeah, it is. So the way that the player salaries have been done, Greg's broken it down into position. And basically, you can go through and see, okay, if I pick such and such, are they going to be a offensive advantage or a defensive advantage? So you can kind of weight your team like that, which I think is really interesting. But maybe we'll come back to that. Maybe we'll get through the rest of this stuff, and then we'll talk about strategies. Game rules. It'll be standard SM5 rules. We're going to work with the 0-point penalty system. We'll work out a repeated infringement cap. Is that the right word? Yeah.
At some point, I think we'll just have to stop calling it the 0-point penalty system. It's just going to be the penalty system.
Yeah.
Much like it's not the international rules, it's just the rules.
Yeah. There's the rules, and then
and then there's some other bullshit.
Yeah, there's a lot of song lyrics being bandied about in chat at the moment. You guys are great.
It's that kind of day.
Yeah, it is that kind of day. They're like, this is really boring. We're just gonna amuse ourselves in chat. Yeah, and then
it still counts as viewership numbers for us suckers.
yeah. Sing as many songs as you want. We don't care. And then there's a section about substitutions, which I don't think I read. But basically, it's you can get a sub if you need to, but they can't exceed the salary. Drop the control. Russ, why are you wasting all your points? It makes me so mad.
I don't even understand what that means.
So it's for a it's a Thunderdome Thursday thing. We have a thing where this is why you gotta watch our other shows. I mean, you're on 2 of them already. You just come hang out on the 3rd one. If somebody redeems drop the controls, the other person's got to drop the controls for 20 seconds.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes more sense with what
because
I have watched the show. I'll have you know.
Well, in a gaming sense, it makes a lot of sense to use drop the controllers. But
yeah, that's why I just understand what it means in this particular stream, because you're just talking nonsense. I'm like, what control are you talking about, bro?
That's right.
Look, I have nothing. You want me to unplug my mic? I can do that.
Yeah. Book. If you want to do something cool, I've been waiting for somebody to drop a nuke. Drop a nuke. That's way more entertaining for all of us because I got a little thingy that I can click and it does a thingy. Do the thingies, all right?
I'm gonna drop the control. All right, here comes the fun cooker.
The fun cooker. You do well in prison.
I really wouldn't.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you wouldn't. Everyone else would. # fun cooker.
No, Steve, that's one thing you learn. You don't make jokes in prison.
That's right, yeah.
You'll appreciate my humor.
I'd be in trouble in prison. You can only 5-chain right now, man. Fucking let them fly. Best new name for a prison wallet. You're not wrong. The # fun cooker. # here comes the fun cooker. All right. So that's basically how the tournament is going to work. And I'm very excited about it. More excited than I feel that I'm portraying in this particular podcast because I feel a little bit all over the place, but that's okay.
Almost like the person who designed it was not you, and they're not here to explain it to you.
Yeah, because I'm really good at. Oh yeah, can't wait, let's go, let's do this. Oh yeah, and then people
Check it out. You got a salary cap. You got offense. You got defense.
Check it out. If you haven't watched that pod, by the way, go back and watch it because it's very enjoyable. It's much better than this one. You should turn this
way
one
better
off.
than this.
Go watch that one. You know, we can't. These can't all be winners, folks. All right. But that's the general outline of this particular tournament.
Look, the point is, it's a salary cap tournament. It's teams of 3. You play offense and defense. So you play all the positions. You're gonna mix up the colors a little bit. And then you win Zap Coin based on how you do.
Well, so
later. That's all you need to know. Don't worry about it.
Greg's just put a message in. Steve, do you need me to jump on? Yeah, but like 45 minutes ago.
That ship has sailed.
Remember when I messaged you like an hour ago? I mean, if you want, you could come on now. People don't seem to mind. Like we'll just go to commercial. And then we'll bring you on. Do you want to jump in? Like, feel free to come on and save our podcast. That would be terrific. And then we can talk about other stuff. But yeah, if you're not up to much, what are you doing right now? Aside from...
We're fine. We're all fine down here. How are you?
You're in Discord? All right. We're going to go to Be Right Back. And we're going to bring Greg in. He's going to be named Than. But don't worry about it. It's fine. Okay, we'll be right back.
People won't know the difference.
Oh my. Boom. Welcome to the podcast, Old Man Than. Why is the camera all fucked? There we go.
That's about par for the course for today.
Yeah.
Wow, man, you're much better looking than usual.
You look healthy, bro. How are you?
Yeah, I'm alright.
Yeah, you managed to fix your New Zealand accent. Good job.
I've got the hair for Than. I just need the spit. I've never been good at growing this bit, so.
Clearly me neither.
And I know that you were paying attention to the podcast because you have your box of tissues right behind you, like everyone does when they're watching us.
That's right. And your Windex?
Hey, cleanup is important, man. In the age of COVID, you can't be too careful.
Yeah, if we're really prying into our personal life, it's a bottle of water for behavioral training for our cat.
Cat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So if I knew I was coming on the podcast, I would have cleaned up the room because we were just chilling and playing WoW up until like 3 minutes ago.
If you'll notice what has happened to all of the things, don't even worry about it. Welcome to the podcast, not Than. Yeah, so as you were already able to tell, we were struggling our way through the proposed changes to the tournament.
Yeah.
So we explained it super good, but you tell us what you think.
Yeah.
The rules mean.
Yeah. Feel free to put us to shame.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with the overview so far. So you make a team of 3. It's all salary based. So your team of 3 needs to not exceed, what did I decide on, 2.2 million?
2.2, yeah.
Yeah, bumped it up by another 100,000. So that just stops stupid teams from being forming because no one wants to see Steve, Morange, and King in one team because that's not fun for anyone.
Except for me.
But yeah, so you make your team, and kind of the value of your team, it determines how your scoring is going to work for the remainder of the tournament. I think that's where you got a little bit stuck. So basically, when you play against another Space Marines team, they are basically two teams together. So the amount of points you can win is that combined team's salary. So yeah, if we use DK's average of about 2.2 million, you're looking at about 4.4 million in earnings. And then to adjust for
Inflation.
to adjust for how much better or worse your team is than them, we take the difference between the two salaries and either add or subtract that to that total, depending on whether you're expected to win the match or not. So if your team is say worth 4 million and you beat a team with 4.2 million, difference is 200,000. We multiply that by 10, you get another 2 million on top of your score. So you'd get the 4.2 million for beating them, plus another 2 million on top of that for beating a team who are worth 200,000 more than you.
So herein lies the issue, because the thought process for this was to make sure that the team of 6 is even. Is that right?
They don't have to be even. You'll be mixed and matched with people all out throughout the tournament.
So
it's just...
let me not the teams of 3, but the teams that are like under strength get like a handicap. Yeah. So I think that's kind of, so DK was saying before we started, like, I think that the point of having like a salary cap for each team is that that's kind of the equalizer, right? That's how you get to roughly even teams, roughly.
Yes and no, and the counter to that is when this document got shared with the Auckland player base, about a week or so ago?
Yeah, Tuesday, I think, Monday,
I
Tuesday.
solicited something like 95 messages in an hour from different people telling me how wrong it was and how things would fall apart. And one of the things I heard come up most often is how do we stop teams being formed who fall under the cap, but essentially result in a 6th team being composed of, say, people who only value up to 1.7 million as combined. Like, we don't want 5 teams worth 2.1 million and then a 6th team worth 1.7 million, because then, that's a very imbalanced tournament. So the way we've kind of turned it around and saying, rather than setting a minimum salary cap, which would have effectively been the other solution to this problem, we've now basically said the amount of points you can earn per game is dependent on the team you're playing against. So if we do end up with a team who are, say, worth 1.8, 1.9 million, then the teams who are playing against them can't earn as many points. And on the off chance that this team worth 1.8, 1.9, say, pair with a really strong offensive team and do win the game, they're going to win heaps of points for basically having the disadvantage against them.
Yeah.
So I see the reasoning behind that, and I am sympathetic to that point. I think, though, when you're already mixing in that you have multiple sites, you have site multipliers that are on things, and everybody has to rotate through all the positions, I think that's honestly enough randomness and enough chance that's added in to account for what will hopefully be relatively minute differences in skill between teams, especially since we're talking here that it's 2 teams combined. It's not as though every game that the underpowered team, so to speak, is always going to be paired in a disadvantageous situation at that point. So just from my standpoint, I feel like that might be adding more complexity than you actually need, at least for the first go.
So when me and Greg were talking about it beforehand, I basically told, like, because when we were planning for Nats, there were some like scenarios put forward about how we should run the tournament, and basically I was like, no, Greg, no, you keep it simple, damn it. But for this tournament, I was like, bro, just wave your flag, let it fly. And so, like, so far, it is more on the complicated side. It's still gonna be fun as shit, but yeah,
I think everything outside of that particular element is
Awesome.
good because it basically combines elements that we have kind of already tested in a new way and put them together. So all you guys who sent Greg 95 messages, you just need to harden the fuck up and play harder so that way your team can win. I don't know what else to tell you.
The alternative to doing a like a salary cap tournament is that we make the teams, we use the values of the players that we've already put together, and we randomly generate people's teams, and that way the teams are likely to be more numerically close than you having, that one outlier team that's like way under the cap or whatever. So that's how I would personally want to see it done. But yeah, Ben said he's a Formula One fan. He loves complex scoring systems and rules.
yeah, I'm also a programmer, so I live for complex systems and rules.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, since most of it can be automated, it's not that big a deal. I just think you may want to test something like that on a couple of member nights before you premiere that for a 3-day tournament, because my kind of concern with that also would be in a situation where you have, say, a strong 3 on offense and that quote unquote the weaker team on defense for a match, it might actually work more to the advantage of the stronger team than it is to the underpowered team, because they can rack up a lot more points because they're going to have the differential going in their favor at that point. So even though the underpowered team is also going to earn a lot more from that game, so too will the team that they're sharing the arena with on offense in that kind of case. So it's not simply an advantage for the weaker team in that case.
But that strong offense team can, like, the maximum points they can score is really only the salary of that team they're playing against.
Yeah, because it's not based on how many points they score in the
it's
game.
Not your score. It's not the Space Marines 5 score. It's just whether you win the game or not.
Right, but because the difference in your team composed of 6 versus their team of 6, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So if your team of 6 is ultimately going to have a lower threshold, so the differential between the teams is going to be higher, that's going to benefit both sides of 3 who have the lower value.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Math.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm not stuck to this. I'm happy to make it malleable, but where I need to draw the line is things need to change because they're unfair or unreasonable, not necessarily just because people don't like them.
Oh, for sure.
And with SM5, that's such a difficult line to walk, because I just threw the idea out there and said, hey, let's do away with this whole idea of an elim bonus because there's no concept of a match, right? So it's the team who scores the most points, irrespective of whether an elim has taken place, because there's already points or laserforce monies for getting an elimination. I've never seen the community get so upset with me before for even remotely suggesting that.
Well, so
yeah, you don't mess with the elim.
Changing that one quickly.
Rookie mistake right there.
I think because it changes the focus of the point of the game. The point of the game is to kill the other team. That's the point of the game. And back in the day, the elim bonus was put in place partially because, if you kill the other team out very quickly, generally your scores were much lower. And not only that, but it comes to the other point that if you kill the other team out, but they scored more points than you, they really, logically, they didn't win the match or the game. They got killed out.
Yeah, well, I mean, since the match play is kind of thrown out, I could see the actual point value ultimately not making that much of a difference.
No.
I think you would be correct on that end, Greg. But certainly you do need in place that an elimination is automatically a win, regardless of score. And being eliminated is a loss, regardless of score.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as that's in place, it's the same basic notion, because that preserves the whole purpose, which is you want the game to be about eliminating the other team wherever possible.
Yeah.
I've hearing that for the first time. I changed it back. I mean, just taking a step back, I mean, the original, like the core of the tournament's design and this whole change to this concept of money and a balancing thing is all just a reaction to a lot of people messaging me to say, hey, what happens if this team salary scenario happens? And I've had like 6 different people throw scenarios at me. But essentially what it came down to was you can score a maximum of 10 points per game that you play. 5 of those points comes from winning the game. 2 of those points comes if you get an elimination, and then 3 points are a specific objective for your team's role. So that's your team of 3. And I don't think you quite touched on this yet, Steve, in the pod.
I don't think so.
Correct.
Yeah. So basically, what it was is it's going to sound math heavy, but it's actually simpler than it sounds. It's if you are the offensive team, so if you're Commander Scout, you get 0.15 of a point for every medic life that you take from the enemy team. If you're the defensive, so if you're a heavy ammo medic, you get 0.15 points for every medic life remaining at the end of the game. 0.15 is just 20 divided by 3. So if you take all 20 lives off the enemy medic, that's the full 3 points. If your medic somehow survives the game with all 20 lives still intact, which I've seen happen, then you get the 20 points as the defense. So 5 for winning the game, 2 for an elimination, and 3 for your team's specific goal, and that's basically 10 points per match.
And
which is an interesting wrinkle, I think, and it does produce some kind of interesting incentives or odd incentives within a game that maybe wouldn't otherwise exist. I'm thinking most specifically for the person on defense who draws heavy in that case, because in that kind of situation, there actually really isn't any advantage to attacking the enemy medic at all, other than to try to guarantee yourself that elimination, because ultimately you're actually getting points for some of your adversaries in the tournament, because attacking the enemy team's medic only gets points for the other 3 people on your team who aren't really on your team.
Interesting.
But at the same time, you know, if you need that elimination bonus, that's going to benefit everybody. So it doesn't completely negate it. It produces an interesting kind of strategy wrinkle there.
Maybe we reweight how much the Elam bonuses, because like as a predominantly heavy player myself, the idea of not being able to go out and being disincentivized to go out and kill the other team makes me sad. Because I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah. We should mention that obviously this is producing not an entirely artificial constraint on the roles that are played within a team of defining a heavy as defensive with the ammo and medic. I don't think is meant to construe that, oh yeah, heavies need to play defense all the time and they shouldn't be attacking. We've had this conversation, you know, many times over the years about how heavies and various other positions are best used. But I think at least splitting the roles of the 3 hits in between the 2 different teams is probably a good move. So whether we call them offense versus defense or something else, I think probably that split works the best, because you keep the 3 hits on 2 different sides of the match, I guess, as we'll call it. And it keeps the resupply players together. Because if you ever ended up in a situation where your 2 resupply players had essentially opposing goals during the game because of the way that the point values worked out, that would be very weird.
Yeah. Russ is not on board with... But basically he said, I wish people weren't obsessed with hurting the medics. And then said, it's kind of the point of the game. People just want to hurt us. You're right. I want to murder all of the opposition's team as a medic.
Especially as a medic, because Russ has got 50 medic on medic hits on the stats side. That
piece of shit.
I was leading until Rodak overtook me by 1.
Sounds like you go battle medic next game.
Yeah.
But it is like so far, because you know, obviously we've been working on this for not, to be fair, like a couple of weeks, right? And
at least the last 2 hours.
but we put it to this. We put it to our community. I'm pretty sure it was like Monday or Tuesday this week. It hasn't been very long. So, and we did that purposefully to have people give their feedback, because obviously, like if people are going to play in this tournament and the tournament isn't as serious as like a nationals, it gives us the opportunity to play around with the format a little bit. What I might do is put up an event and invite the potential player pool, because I think it's more useful to have these conversations in a public forum rather than 6 or 7 people sending you the same message over and over again.
Yeah.
um,
Right, I'm looking at you.
Plus, yeah, because other people can give their 2 cents as well, what they think about it. Yeah. So I think that's a really interesting point, DK, because I hadn't really thought about like the way that it would potentially change how people approach the game. Because if you just sit back as a heavy and protect your medic, you're probably not contributing to killing the other team, which I am not a fan of. Clearly.
But that's where we're coming back to this, like, it's a disjoint between what's fair and what's personal preference, right? Like, you are a heavy, but we run into this problem, right, where the commander comes back for his resup and says to the heavy, "Are you good to go?" And they're like, "Yeah." And you're like, "Okay, go for 30 seconds or 60 seconds or however long you feel comfortable." 4 minutes later, you're fully topped up, screaming for the heavy who's completely ignoring you. And they come back and you're like, "Where have you been?" They're like, "Oh, I've just been smashing them."
Yeah, I killed everything.
Yeah, here's a thought. Resup, how about you fend for yourself a little bit? Stop suckling at the teats of the 3 hits.
Yeah, Russ.
I feel like the teams of 3 need to have their own incentive within the game that can't really be compromised by the other 3. And then you can't, like, if you get paired with the 3 who are leading the tournament, if you were, say, evil enough to decide to want to hinder them in any way,
which I hope it's not the case. Like,
I don't think it would be the case. But if conversely, right, if your team are the defensive role, like I'm specifically thinking our arena, you guys are green, your team the defensive role, you're naturally going to be the heavy, right? If your green offensive side are lackluster, shall I say delicately, then it's probably more to your advantage to keep your resup alive through that, and then your score is going to be more dictated by how well you do defensively down in disco compared to, say, a green attacking team who are trying to break, like Joe or Scott as a heavy upstairs, where you're basically pounding into a brick wall for like 15 minutes.
I suppose like it comes back to that, like that conversation which I've had many, many times about what is within the spirit of the game, because there are some players that play, for lack of a better term, a bottom feeding style of play where they won't attack the opposition's resupply. They'll sit back and play like a zone and just rack up points, and they'll get a good score, but they didn't really contribute to taking out the opposition's resupply.
But that at least accomplishes a goal within the game. Maybe not the primary objective, but it does still lead to team success in some means. I would be more concerned. There's not a situation I can think of off the top of my head right now where this would apply, but you would want to avoid a situation where if for some reason a defensive 3 is paired with an offensive 3, if it is in any way advantageous for the defensive resupply simply not to cooperate with the offensive players on their team and like refuse to resupply them. That would obviously be bad and contrary to design. It's something we would want to avoid at all costs.
Because then why would you want to play the game if that's all you cared about? Like,
at base we're still trying to play as Space Marines. We're just doing it a slightly different organizational way. So we're trying not to create perverse incentives. This is an actual econ term I'm using here, not
I don't want no pervert incentives, all right?
Standard deviation just isn't enough for perverted statistician.
Ducky says mothing does not contribute to anything. That's a poorly.
I disagree.
Mothing
That's
does
all I
not
can say.
Contribute to anything. Right. But yeah, again, that kind of depends on the arena that you're playing in as well. You know, like with Brisbane's a Brisbane's a zone control arena. If you can control that upstairs, you push the other team back into its corner or kick them downstairs, and you will probably win the game. Whereas, you know, with like a Ballarat or even like a Game Over, it's you're gonna do better if you can kill the resupply out, and it's probably a little easier to do that because the arenas are so small. So
I think that's just a conversation though about the relative ease and speed with which the resupply can be killed. Because even in a maze that's based on zone of control, like Brisbane, that to my mind, all you're really saying is that it requires slightly more team cooperation to effectively attack the resupply. And eliminate them. But at root, that is still the point of the game because
rather than hairball, right?
It accomplishes your primary goal, and it's also going to get you the most points.
Mm.
Getting the most points is, depending how you define it, either the primary or secondary objective. Because killing the resupply accomplishes that. You will win the game because the other team can't score any points, and you get the most points.
Yeah. I suppose it's which one of those things you prioritize more. For me, like killing the other team is the highest priority, versus and points is just a byproduct of what happens when you kill the other team.
Sure.
So I guess it depends on what your motivations are or how your strategy is, but I know that there are some, I wouldn't say purists, but old school players that look at a technique like mothing and sitting around just racking up a score without actually attacking the resupply as not a good way to play, but it's a way to play. So yeah, I don't know.
That's maybe a discussion for another time, but yeah, my larger point was simply, you don't want to run into a situation where a resupply has any incentive not to cooperate. Other than maybe sportsmanship, because I don't want to be the dick who's just like, no, you're not going to get any points this game because we're going to win the tournament if we don't give you any resupply.
I would hope that there's I would hope that within our site there's not any particular players that would play to that strategy.
No, but you don't want to actively incentivize it because when people are competitive, as most of us are to some degree, anytime strategy enters into it, I will figure out any legal method of winning. I will play within the rules, but I will try to figure out any possible way that I can win.
Yeah, but like sportsmanship is a big thing. Like,
well, that's where the rules come in. That's what I'm saying.
Well, ish, because it's not against the rules to purposefully. I suppose it's unsportsmanlike conduct, but like, I don't know if there is a way that you would be able to penalize somebody for purposefully not giving resupply or something. Although, like, I've seen it in cases where people have given up in games and got busted to medic for a round. So,
which I think is unsportsmanlike, but that's in a slightly different situation where you are playing on a full team of 6 and you're playing in a match structure.
Yeah.
Because of the 3-on-3 element, that's the only thing, is that your friends are also your rivals to some extent, because although you're allied for the moment with another team of 3, at the end of the day, you're still hoping for your team of 3 to win the tournament at the end.
Yeah, and you would hope that people would achieve that goal by their play rather than, dicking over another team.
Yeah. And, well, you have to cooperate at some point, because if you just completely refuse to cooperate with the other people on your team, you're going to get rolled by the other team of 6. So it is going to prevent that. The only possible way I could see it happening is at the very end of the tournament, if it's a foregone conclusion that one team is for sure going to win or can only win under the circumstances where the team they're partnered with loses big or something like that. But I can't think of a situation off the top of my head. Just looking at the way that the points are structured, that is one minor concern I would have is you don't want to disincentivize cooperation within your unit of 6.
That's why half the maximum points come from winning the game, right? Because you can only do that as a 6.
Yeah, absolutely. Ducky has said an interesting comment. Points are a method of deciding a winner when elimination is not achieved in the time frame. I think that's a really good way to sum it up.
That's fair.
Yeah. You won't kill the other team. Why does nobody want to go murder hobo on the other team? It's exactly what I want to do. Was there anything else that we need to touch on? Or that you want to kind of explain? Because I think that we kind of explained how the points are going to work, right? And this idea.
Yeah, I think he kind of went through it all. I mean, it's all pretty malleable. Like, there's obviously a lot of feedback coming in. I mean, even just during this podcast session, there's been a lot of suggested changes.
The other thing I would just say is just try it.
Yeah.
I know people are going to have their critiques, and you're going to face this no matter what. I would just say, as somebody who has organized tournaments and has had to listen to their fair share of complaints, at some point, just go with it, see how it runs. Anytime it's a new experiment, there are going to be successes, there are going to be failures. But give it a shot, guys.
And people are scared of change usually.
But we're not talking about a nationals. We're talking about a novel tournament.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Which I hope that people would approach with like a sense of competitiveness, but not competitiveness at the detriment of like the overall enjoyability of the tournament. Because that's kind of why we want to have this done. Like the thought of having like 3 days of Space Marines at like different arenas with different team structures. Oh man, I can't wait. Like a novel coronavirus. No, not like a novel coronavirus. Something much more pleasant. Actually, we should probably discuss that as well. So, as at this stage, Auckland is in level 3 lockdown, which if it comes to October, because we are looking at hosting this mid-October, lol, has Steve ever been you a tournament? I think I know what you mean. Damn it, Russ. God damn it.
Distracting the class, Russ. That's it.
Right, I remember.
We're bringing in the band hammer.
I remember. So, we're at level 3 at the moment, which means if we get to October and we're still in level 3, this tournament ain't happening. Or at least it's not happening in October. Hopefully, we can get back down to level 2 or level 1. Level 1 would be preferable. We'll probably put out a mandate that, like, if you are sick, if you are symptomatic of any sort of illness, you're probably not going to play. Yeah, you get to watch from home. We are going to play with refs, and my expectation. Don't leave, Russ. Stay here. Don't go to bed. My expectation is that if people are in reffing, they should probably wear a mask, even if we are at level 1. I'd still say that's probably responsible. I have a bunch of masks that I will bring for people to wear. So, and
everybody share Steve's masks. That will definitely accomplish the goal.
You don't want my mask. This is a good way to get yourself Kiwi.
You might need to do that math again, there, buddy.
I have a lot of masks that I haven't worn that people can help themselves to. So, I think that'd be a responsible thing. But, if things are looking a little more under control than they do at the moment, we'll look to have the tournament on. I think it was the 12th of October till the 14th. We have confirmation from 2 out of the 3 sites. We're still waiting on Wairau, which is dumb because I would have expected they were the first to come back to us, but so be it. Tournament fee will be discussed, but it's probably going to be $100 per person. And from that'll get you your 3 days from 10 till 3. And hopefully, if we have a little bit of cash left over, we'll arrange some sort of awards. Maybe we'll lean on Mr. Doom for his excellent painting abilities to make us some. Wyro's blanking us. No, it's not that they're blanking us, Ben. It's just that they haven't got back to us. Well, they sort of have, but they sort of haven't. So we're just waiting on the confirmation. But I kind of want to go into the salaries really quick. We've been going for about an hour and 20, so we won't go for too much longer today.
Get into it though.
I found my clock, by the way. I thought it had disappeared, but I found it.
Just two things I do want to jump into.
Yeah.
First is that the site multiplier you guys were discussing earlier, and DK, your line of thinking is exactly on board with where mine was, where it's like your home site would make the most sense, but it also doesn't make the most sense because
But it's everybody's home site.
Yeah. So I mean, giving away trade secrets here. The team I'm on, I'm actually going to push for game over, mostly because it plays so quickly. You're actually more likely to get elims in game over, I think. You're more likely to get consistent elims in game over compared to wire out, and botany is just such an absolute crazy test. We never played competitive SM5 there before.
No, we didn't. I don't even think we played. We didn't play a game of Space Marines, did we? Because they didn't have it at the time.
No, we just played standard.
Yeah.
Birthday parties.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because they put this arena up in their in their attic. It was like a weird upstairs office, and the briefing room was in the stairwell, and the stairwell up to the office. It was pretty funny. You look like
That's fantastic, right? Because downstairs is an ice skating rink, so you walk out of a game into an ice skating rink. It's the best temperature change in the world.
yeah, it's amazing.
I could definitely see that being an advantage to my enjoyment.
You're right though, Greg. My thought process is around the same thing. The likelihood of elims in some of those smaller arenas is much higher than it is for home, but home is home. It's where we played the majority of our games, so it's gonna be interesting. Have you got a team already? Have you put together a team?
No, but I expect to be in a team somewhere.
Oh yeah. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing on the 12th? You want to hang out with me? Well, so I don't think I can. Somebody did the math. Someone did the math and were like, right, so because you're worth the most, you have the choice of two players. I'm like, I guess that's my team then. Cool.
You should. I think you've got a bit more choice now that the cap's been extended.
I do.
But the cap being extended is kind of privy on the calculations for scores being different, so that might be a bit of an offline discussion that needs to take place. But the other thing I wanted to touch on,
rating Steve is worth 70,000 more than anyone else at Commander. # overpaid.
Fuck you, man. I've dropped in value. Is that accurate?
You've been rounded.
Oh,
you mean the original one?
Yeah.
Because you've gone up in value since I originally weighted you.
Have I? God damn it.
Yeah. You were, I think you were around 930,000. You're now 970.
Oh,
in fact, you're actually 972.
Start tanking, Steve.
Oh,
Start
bro,
tanking.
that's so disappointing. I mean, yeah, I don't have. I'm gonna have to do some maths because that makes me very nervous. There's not a lot to choose from here for me, but nevertheless, we'll see.
I mean, you, Zua, and Rohan come in under cap.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like I've got three people to choose from.
I mean, if you took me, then...
Oh, what's the cap? 2.2.
2.2.
Me, you, and Ruan. Boom. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. So, yeah, what I thought was really interesting is that you broke down the stats per position. And I sent I sent this to Scott, I think I sent the breakdown to Scott before everyone else kind of had a look at it because he works with stats and he's crazy. So he was just he came back to me and was like, wow, so I could put this team together and it's more offensively balanced than it is defensive, but if I go with this other, it's more even across the board. And I was like, dude, quit being Rain Man and get on my level and be like, ooh, what's the total value? That's cool. All this talk of player values as dollars must be getting up Morange's nose. Probably, yeah. Can I put the link up again to what
Yeah.
the
The spreadsheet. For the
spreadsheet?
player summaries.
Yeah,
I have it
here's
up right now.
here's the doc. If you want to have a look at the current values, hopefully that's it. Yeah, that's it. Have a read of those again. Like anyone that you see in red, players possibly not going to be available. Yeah, I really wish Doom was playing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty gutted actually that he can't. Same with Shay actually. I'm very disappointed that she probably is going to be out, but you know, obviously she's, you know, recovery. Yeah. But there's a lot of people in here. Like, preferably everyone on this list would play. But you know, it's probably not going to happen. Yappy's in Canada serving quarantine time, so he's probably not going to be able to play either. But yeah, there's going to be some interesting teams for him, I think. I can't wait.
I think it'll be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it for you guys.
Yeah.
On your behalf, since I only play Vicarious Lasers anymore.
We'll make a fantasy league for you, DK.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are like, okay, we need to make sure that we're down to stage 1 or stage 2. Everybody needs to wear masks and stuff like that. And otherwise, we definitely can't play in October because you guys have what, like 30 cases in the country right now?
Something like that.
Yeah. Whereas here in the States, we're like, yeah, maybe we'll play in October. I don't care that the trees have corona all over them. Fuck it. Let's just do it.
I don't know if you heard, but New Zealand is going through a massive surge. So, you know.
I have heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that, yeah. It's disappointing, actually. We can't even leave the house without instantly bursting into corona.
Well, better than bursting into flames like we have here. So.
True. Goddamn fire tornadoes.
Maybe the fire tornadoes will burn away all the corona. I heard this is the best way to go about things.
It'll burn the sickness out.
That's official professor advice right now that you're getting here on the air.
You have 6 new cases today in Queensland. Oh, massive surge. Yeah. Anyone with any final thoughts? I'm gonna take that deafening silence as a no.
Yeah, because there's definitely lots of people who are talking out loud besides the 3 of us.
Well, thanks, Greg, for coming on. You know, next time maybe we'll give you more notice than 20 minutes before we start.
See, I thought you had given him more notice. I thought you asked him like last week if he wanted to be on the pod.
Oh, way. What are you on about? All I did was I thought about asking him.
Oh, okay.
But why would I actually ask him?
Why didn't you pick up on that, Greg? Come on, you need to anticipate Steve's needs a little bit better.
Duck a weave,
I'm a little
bro.
disappointed.
You duck a weave. Yeah, thanks for coming on, bro. I appreciate the clarification and the candid discussions. I think it's important. We'll get something locked down.
Auckland players, give him a chance. Let him run the tournament. If you don't like it, you can complain after. But until then, stop messaging Greg. Leave him alone.
Message DK instead.
Yeah,
sure.
All right. Or Russ. Similarly complaints to Russ.
Oh yeah, you should absolutely complain to Russ. All right. Well, look. Should we end it there, DK? Like, you want to talk about anything else?
What else is there to talk about on my end?
Fire tornadoes. We covered that already.
All
right. Look,
that's all needs to be said.
We're back tomorrow. We are back tomorrow for D&D, and I'm very excited to play because last week was epic.
Was.
Al went in and dropped a nuke and killed everything, and it was glorious. If you're bored, have nothing to do, come join us. Come hang out, come talk shit or distract me, or whatever you feel like doing. Next week, maybe we'll figure something out for a watch party. Oh, actually, no. Next Sunday we have D&D again, right? We're doing 2 in a row. Because the following week, depending on again what happens with lockdown, I'm not going to be here. It's the anniversary of my dad's 1 year passing, so I might be going back down to home and be with him with my brother for his 1 year. So we'll try and bust out a couple weeks in a row of quality content.
It will be at least as good as tonight was.
Oh. Thanks for hanging out with us. Sometimes it's just not a winner. Sometimes you got to take bronze.
I would say you get what you pay for, but since people actually have spent money on the channel now, I do feel a little bit bad.
Sort of. I mean, we mostly
Like
got
caveat
to...
emptor, man.
we mostly got to spend an hour and a half bragging that like Auckland get to play a competitive laser tag tournament in a
True.
month or two. Not in a month. It's not that close. Month and a half, thereabouts. 2 months. Yeah. All right. Well, for this week, I've been Guy Next Door.
I've been DK.
And he's been Not Than.
I've been Not Than.
Always remember to backtrack, kids. We will see you tomorrow/next week. Where's the button? I always miss the button. It keeps moving. Here we go. See you guys.